Good evening and aloha, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Tucker Carlson Tonight. I'm Tulsi Gabbard, standing in for Tucker. Now, I'm so grateful to have had the privilege of wearing the cloth of this country now for almost 20 years, currently serving as a lieutenant colonel and civil affairs officer in the U.S. Army Reserves. But my first deployment was to Iraq in 2005, where I served in a medical unit in a camp that was about 40 miles north of Baghdad. And one of the things that struck me when I first arrived at that camp in 2005 was this big sign at the main gate that read, "Is today the day?" Now, I saw that sign almost every day for the year that I was there, a reminder that any day could be our last. And I was confronted with just how true this was as I worked in a medical unit every day, experiencing the high human cost of war. And it caused me to reflect, what am I doing with my life? Am I making the most of every day that I have to do my best to be of service to God and to others? Now, the question on that sign, "Is today the day?" is just as relevant to every one of us now here at home as it was to us in Iraq so many years ago. I spoke to Tucker recently on my podcast, The Tulsi Gabbard Show, about this most important topic. Here's part of our conversation.
I do feel great.
That's literally what matters.
But I'm moving toward death at like pretty high speed. And one of the first things to go is my sight, and I can't text without my glasses on.
I've been feeling that way since I was very young, moving towards death at a rapid rate.
Yes, because we are.
Yes.
And the root of all wisdom is knowing that,
Exactly.
Is knowing that.
Exactly.
I feel like people who are aware of death are way happier and lighter because they're not denying what's just biologically intrinsic. Like you can't get away from it,
Exactly. Because if you acknowledge the reality of death and that it's not just something like, okay, I'm going to set my clock. It's going to come at this time, at this place, at this age.
Yes.
Then you realize how precious life is, right?
Yes. And you're not in control.
You look at, the problems we have in mainstream media, the problems we have within leaders in just about every sector in our society. They're chasing all the wrong things, whether it's money or power or attention or, so-called love, affirmation, fame, and all of these things just come down to this refusal to even take a moment and ask the all-important question is, like, what is the purpose of my life?
I know.
Right? Like, what am I chasing?
I totally agree. How could you miss that?
Now, as we look to the year ahead, we're reminded about what is most important in life and in death, that we find hope and inner peace in God's unconditional love for every one of us, and that true happiness is found in service to God and to others.